All right. Good evening, everyone. Today is the 23rd of January 24 already. Looks like I'm on the hook to tie up some easy egg patterns. These things work really well during the winter months when you hit the trout lakes in the urban area. I did really well with them in Coneman Lake, and they're easy. Something that a beginner, could easily tie up. And if we have some of the materials, we could do it at JB. It's a simple fly. That's probably what I'm going to do next Monday. Uh, it's simple and it's very effective. So we'll go through that. Uh, Fishing outings right now, who knows? I know it's starting to warm up a little bit, but maybe we'll get something soon because it looks like we're getting 40s and at least it's not tens and zeros. Uh, so we'll come up
Still
with,
ice in the ponds, though.
yeah, the ponds are iced over. I'm wondering if, we're kind of hitting that Coneman Lake pretty hard. And I think that might be a good one because they got those fountains out there. So
Yes, you did.
that keeps, the water movement, and might open up some of the areas out there, could give it a try. Maybe one day after work, I'll drive out there and see if it's frozen over or not, and then make a call. So I know we need to get some fishing in. Fly tying in person. So JB will be back there next Monday. They had flu running through the ward, so that's why we didn't meet yesterday. So hopefully our participants there are feeling better. We do that from 6 to 7 p.m. in the gym, building 54. If you're going to show up a little bit early, 5:30, help us set up. Setup goes pretty quick anyway, but we'll do that. And then Walt saying that we'll try to do a little dinner afterward if you guys want. It might be at Applebee's or another local place. So if you're interested, we could make a nice evening of it. Frank, again, thank you for helping us with the American Legion. The next one we're going to do is Sunday, the 4th of February. So for February, we're doing it on Sundays because Saturdays in February, we have the rod building going on. So for the 4th fly time, we'll do it from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Again, that's a little bit earlier than what we normally did, but if you guys want, I'm still up for Uncle Bill's for breakfast. We'll see who's interested in that. We'll just probably show up at 8, so it'll be more like a breakfast. Oop, gotta let Carl on because Carl's one of our rod building instructors. All right, so you see Carl's connecting to audio. I just wanted, there he is.
Color preserver does apparently get old. All this is nothing but a bottle is nothing but solid.
Oh.
I just opened it up.
Is that the color preserver?
Yeah, it's all solid inside.
Well, that was an easy test.
Yep. So
Yeah.
that's one. That one's going right in the you know what.
Yep, exactly. So good, if you're getting into rod building, I know Jim already did it for us. We could probably talk a little bit, but he'll probably talk more about that when we're actually doing the class. Check your materials before you get into it. Just do a little test because that's what kind of bit us in the butt last year, where I'm thinking that our epoxy got frozen and that's why I wouldn't cure all the way. So before you go trying to build, rod, and maybe you could easily go a couple $100 on some of these rods. Test your equipment first. Probably your main thing would be your epoxy. And then even if you have to use a dowel rod, make sure that the color preserver works and all that. So lessons learned for sure, and unfortunately, people like Lee, who's on right now, learned the hard way, and I learned too. So my apologies. So the February rod building, we sent out the email. I think I had about 8 participants, RSVP through CRM, and then I created an email to them and our instructors to see, make sure everyone had each other's email, phone numbers to get a hold of each other. We only heard back from some, so I kind of fully expect between us, we'll have no shows, but we'll still make a good time of it. But I have heard from at least 5 saying they will be there, and I'm still trying to get a hold of one person that's been hard where their email doesn't go through and their phone number doesn't work. So I'm going to guess he is going to be a no-show, but if he shows up, great, and then we'll get his new contact info. Fly tying equipment, I still have stuff in storage. If you need anything, I could look to see if we have it, and I could get stuff, just email or text me. Text me is probably the best way. One thing I just thought of too, February 4th, when we're doing tying, I'm gonna order some boxes, fly boxes. I did finally get a call from, and this is kind of cool, Dan Blanton from one of the new members. And he's a Marine, and he's tying and working with fishermen at the crossing. And that's our biggest donator to us. So they have a big event, their dinner at the end of February. So what we usually do is we get a bunch of flies, we load up a couple fly boxes, and then they auction them off, saying a bunch of veterans sent this out. And then through the auction, whatever they make, they added a 4th. I know there's Project Healing Waters, Mayfly, and then 2 others. Whatever money they make, they split it 4 ways, and we get a check. So good news. I did talk to them, and I told them, on the check, if you want it to stay local, and it will need a letter to restrict it here, or it could go to headquarters and then it goes elsewhere. And so luckily he said he'll have a restriction letter. So that will help St. Louis and Heartland. So that's a good thing. So come that Sunday, if you want, please, tie, and then just, donate some flies to me. I have a bunch already, but you donate some, we could fill up those boxes, which kind of brings the more they could auction off and get more money to us. So all it is
when do you need that by, Mitt?
Sunday the 4th, basically. I need to put out a CRM invite for everyone. So I'm glad you kind of brought that up. So the 4th, look for CRM and invite. We're going to meet at the American Legion Post 208, where we've been working with Frank. And we usually tie for 3 hours and just tie up flies while you're there. We could just talk and just, whatever we tie up there, we'll, fill up the boxes, and then I'll get with Dan and get those to them. And that will really help us trying to get materials and everything for the season, because usually they get us in a couple grand. I mean, it's been anywhere from $4 to $8 grand, which really helps our program out.
Do you need stuff just in boxes, or just like random, or do you want us to tie a box of flies and then
you want to bring them in, so anytime I tie something here, I throw them in, a box of onesie twosies. So whenever I tie, I just throw stuff in there. And so if you have little containers like that, we'll just fill them up. And then could be random stuff. And, they just, the fishermen get a kick out of it, that it's tied by veterans. And
all right, well, I'll bring mine on the first class to you.
okay, yeah, that's fine. If you can't make it, we have until I think the 3rd week of February. So if you want to donate anything, just let me know, because I like helping them because they help us out. And so I'll get that in the next email as well. All right. So
what organization was this?
Fishers at the Crossing. It's a St. Louis organization. I met them on the day that I found out about Project Healing Waters. It was at Feathercraft. They had some kind of get together where it was fill the boat with cans and all that and see, meet different local programs. And I had just started getting into fly fishing. So I told Margie, I really want to go. Maybe I could find a good group. And so I talked to them. Great guys, but it is an all men's group. And, I wanted Margie to be part of it. And so we kind of walked past them. We kind of looked at Ozark Fly Fishers. We joined them for a year, but that was right before COVID. So I think I got a meeting or two, and then they were down. Oops. Thank you. So yeah, I've only got to see one or two meetings with them, and then I met, you guys from Project Healing Waters, and then joined you guys. So they're around, they're a good group. They are on Facebook. If you try to look them up and you're interested, just tell them you're from Project Heating Water St. Louis, and they'll let you look at their Facebook page. And they do outings a lot. So if they're doing something you're interested, just reach out to them. I'm sure they would be more than happy to let you guys tag along. All right. And then we have our Zoom meetings on Tuesdays. And not to forget, Omaha has theirs on Thursdays, same time as us. So that was the email. So now I will start into the egg patterns. Does anyone have anything before I start tying? All right. Let me first change this to this.
For your UV light. If you have small dogs or dogs that are puppies and not potty trained, you go around at night and shine it on the floor. It'll light up their spots. Very nice.
Yep. So I've got, yeah, it does work. It's a black light. And so
Right.
I think, unfortunately, some of you guys might have seen, because right behind my laptop here, I have one pet now. My pet scorpion died, so I actually used a black light checking on him, and he'd glow green. It was pretty cool, but he got too old and passed. So all right, I'm going to do a couple different patterns tonight. There's two different ecstasies. They both have say it's ecstasy, but they're different. So I'll show you both kinds. You can kind of see this is both say it's ecstasy, but one's way bigger than the other. And this one on the bottom actually has some kind of flash boo to it. Then I'll cheat you. If you're not, the easiest is this. I'm going to show you how to use McFly foam as well. But if any of these materials are really hard and you think you don't want to do it, I will show you the cheat method where you could buy these pom-poms in bulk and make an easy fly pattern out of it. And it looks really good. You just got to trim it to make sure you can see the hook point, and it just works as fine. And it looks like you tie like a champ. So the first one.
What was the name of that stuff, Mick? You said pom-pom?
Pom-poms. Like you could buy these at I think I got these at Michael's, so it's just a little pom-pom where people use them for arts and crafts if they want to put them on cards or something. They're already like kind of, I could squeeze some of it in there. It's just a little fuzz ball.
Right.
So you just kind of, so if you really like, man, I'm not sure if I could tie these, you do have to throw one wrap in there to make it officially a fly, because in Missouri, you could use any material as long as you secure it with thread. Now you could supplement it with super glue, but as long as you have a couple wraps or a single wrap, it's considered a fly. So this is considered fly. Squirmy worms are considered flies. But I think the first one I'm going to do is with McFly foam, which I I don't have one pre-made already. This is, let me get back out of the screen so you can kind of see. I'll go through the materials. Here's McFly foam. This was the standard a few years ago. I'll show you how you feed it. It kind of clumps, and if your skin is dry, the stuff really sticks to you. But here's McFly foam. It's still fun to use, but it's no longer. I really like the ecstasy. As I said, I had bought 2 packs of ecstasy. The one right here makes a bigger one. It's almost like a chenille, and you can see here. I like this other one because it has a lot more movement to it, but it's a little bit smaller. Doesn't want to work with me, but I'll show you both kinds because these are really easy to make. Yep, and then so I'll do a McFly, both ecstasies and a quick pom-pom, and then you're good to go. I like the bigger the hook, the better. I do like scud hooks, size 12 or even 10, because these take up so much space. You're okay. The Bellas near my house had horrible selection in their fly department, but they're actually getting better. So in a pinch, I could go out there, and this MFC tungsten beads are really cool. But I didn't have any more that I usually get from wholesale fly companies, so I ran out. This was pretty quick to get them. So any kind of red bead, because it actually kind of makes it a hot spot, and that seems to work. All right, let me get back. So the first one I will use, I'll do the McFly foam, but I'm probably going to swap back because I'm going to show you why it's a little bit harder, but how you do use it. You actually need a pen cap to make it work. I'll show you that trick. Right now, I just want to finish getting the bead on the hook, and you could oversize that bead. You can see that's huge because a lot of this material doesn't want to sink right away, and you want to get it down. So you get easily oversize that bead, and then it's a nice hot spot. So now I'm going to go back to the McFly foam where you take it out. The best thing to use, see if this is a little better, is this is a Sharpie cap. So all I did was took a drill to it and drilled out the center. And then it makes it a little bit easier. So the next thing you're going to want to do is take, just a bobbin threader. Use an old one because you can damage these, but you're going to thread it through. And I got 3 different colors of the McFly foam. I got a light pink, hot pink, and orange. And you just kind of thread it through. If it was a big the thread, you just kind of be careful, but pull it through.
How big of a drill hole did you make? Like 1/8 of an inch?
1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch goes well. And once you have a little piece like that, I usually try to trim it off to, if I got any of these fuzzies like that, to where it's kind of straight like that. And so you have enough hanging out there to do 10 flies pretty easy there. And so when you do it, I'll show you how to do it. Some people don't use the cap, but I think the cap makes it a whole lot easier. And I'll show you how that's done. Let me get back to, oops, wrong one. Too many buttons to click. All right. So the thread I like to use is UTC 140. Do the hot pink, since you're doing all crazy colors anyway. You want this to be seen, so have fun with it. I'm just going to get a couple wraps started. You don't have to go far down, so I'm showing you right there. You don't have to go too far down. But you do want to have, this material is very slippery, so you do want to have a good thread bed down. Somebody need a question or heard someone talking? So now you just take your pen cap, line it up, and do like a loose wrap, second loose wrap, start pulling down on it, crank it. Wants to roll a little bit on me, so I'm gonna do a couple more wraps. Just gotta get a good feel for it. Pull it out a little bit more. And go twice as much as you think. Because you don't want to kind of hurt yourself next time if you try to cut right there. Your next fly, you're gonna have to rethread it through. So give it twice what you want. This part is for your fly now. This half back here is for your next fly. Cut there. So now here you're set up for your next fly. But you still have this going on. And just give it a couple good turns in there. Once you get it, bring it back to the front here and wrap it. And now you could just kind of mush this around. That's kind of what I call it, the
Curved scissors?
scissors. Yeah,
Yeah, are they curved?
say again.
Did you use curved scissors? Is that needed or just regular
No,
scissors work?
it's what I always do because if they're cuticle scissors, I always kind of like it because if it's like here, I could really get in close when I use it. But that's the only scissors I really use are curved because it's so you could use straight, but when I want to like get in there to like if I was going to cut this, I could get really close up into there. And for this pattern, it really doesn't matter because you got that big clown hair going on there. So to make sure it looks good and I don't have to worry about that, my Sally Hansen's go. Up there it is. I'll do a quick Sally Hansen's. And that kind of helps lock the thread in there. Whip finish. Thread's gone. Now you can tease this around, move it. As you see, it's a bit too much. It's hiding the hook. So I always do like to give it a cut. So I want to expose that hook a little bit. Depending on how big you want it or small, just trim it to size. It's just like a haircut, take a little bit off the back.
Looks like the haircut John got.
Yeah. So there it is. It's kind of neat little pattern. You could definitely see the hook is showing now. You definitely don't want to make this, you don't need it as a weed guard. The way I like fishing this is under an indicator, 3 feet or so at Bennett or the parks around here. If it's a little bit too shallow, you could adjust it, but park fishing right now at Bennett and around here, this is a perfect catch. And again, this is the brand again is McFly foam, and that's the clown package. So they give you, let me see, we can see there's yellow, orange, light pink, dark pink, medium pink, and even a peach color too. So they give you a lot of different tries on that. So looks good. And again, with the big weight, that'll sing pretty good. And these work fine. And these were basically the original flies that I saw when I first came on. So any questions on this before I go to the ecstasy fly, which I think is super easy and the one I really like. So if you have any questions on that, just let me know and I can get back to that one. So I will do the ecstasy fly. So
I just want to confirm that you don't need curved scissors. I've always used straight scissors and they
Yes.
work just fine.
yeah, straight scissors work just fine. This is just a preference. Right now I'm tying on a Rossetti vise. I got peak and all that. It's just personal preference. I saw someone using it one time and I liked it, but again, that whatever you want to use, whatever you're comfortable with. That's the fun thing about tying flies. Right now I'm showing you different patterns on how to do an egg. You know, we have McFly foam. I'm doing ecstasy now. That's a fun thing with this is do what you're comfortable with, what you like. So again, same thing. Size 10 or 12 hook. This is one of the few times you could really go big on these that I kind of like. So it makes it a little bit easier. As you see, I really don't have to have a huge thread base, just a little bit going on there. And I'm going to use the bigger ecstasy that I like. And it's basically just a chenille. And this makes it super easy to use. Again, if you're kind of like with a mop fly, take some of the first fuzzy parts off and you can actually start seeing the threads there. So you can kind of see the threads and you want to make sure you're locking in that because that's the heart of that material. So, and now I'm just going to take it back just a couple wraps. You don't have to go far on this. And do my half hitch. Okay. Now, even though I have a rotary device on this, I like to do this by hand because I'll start wrapping over and then I like to preen it to one side and even actually hold it. All you gotta do, that was one, that was two, went a little bit too far back, so we'll call three, four. So that was only 4 wraps of this material. So it does go a long way. You could kind of get away with 3. I know you can. I believe it or not, even though that was a very small thread base, that was even kind of bigger than what you needed. As you can see now, it's nice fuzzy egg pattern. Couple wraps there. This is the fun thing about these. Again, if those of you showing up to JB and want to easy fly with someone, I mean, some of these could be kind of hard and you got to judge your participants. This is a nice easy fly to do.
Doesn't
What
it
is
lay
that?
down when it gets wet and it's no longer puffy?
It's kind of like what you would say, almost like a wet dog. It will look like this in the water, but the minute you pull out, it lays flat. But this material really moves really well. So I've never had of it like and I know what you're saying. Some of the woolly buggers, you know, where you have the marabou feather. Sometimes I've tied it where it just looks like it's just a stick back there, that the feather isn't moving like I thought it would be. This ecstasy pattern really does move pretty well. And so this is kind of a bigger egg pattern, but there's another ecstasy material I'll use. I'll show you that. But as you can see, it's much smaller, a little bit tighter, and it's got actually some flash of blue in it. But for those of you who I put it on our Project Clean Waters page and then my own Facebook page. You saw that nice fish I caught right at the inlet at Bennett. Nice male with the nice colors with the big hook. This was a fly. If you rewatch that video, you'll see this pattern. I mean, this same hook, everything is what I caught it on. It works really well. And during the winter months, it does better than everyone knows. I like that white thread jig. This actually better come wintertime.
When you make flies, do you ever test them in water? Like you get like a big loaf pan, glass ones, and see how they.
I need to do that because we've done that before. I know Amy for sure has done it. Where she's got it just looks like a pint beer glass and we can kind of dump it in the water. So I'm gonna have that with me next time for sure. So you guys could kind of see that. I know this one would look really good. The puff ball that I will do soon, this crazy thing, that will float for a while. So if I put that in water, it would float for a while. If you're going to fish with it, I would put it down by your, leg or something where if you're sitting in waders, grab it, go underwater with it, squeeze it and try to waterlog it because that one will float for a little bit. This will sink like a rock. It actually has some cool movement to it and works really well. But I will have to remember to absolutely, I think that's a good idea where I could just get a glass of water here and you guys could see what it looks like.
Now, Mick, what was that material you put on there? Was that just nail polish?
Yes, it's pretty much everyone's uses around here. It's Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails. Just go to Walgreens or any, CVS. I always
Okay.
I use this because a whip finish kind of works and it does work very well. I shouldn't say kind of, it works well. This is just an added protection where I just kind of put it on the thread, do my whip finish, and it locks it in there. There has been a couple times that if I've caught many fish on one single fly, the teeth might start nicking at that wrap behind the bead head, and all of a sudden it'll start to unravel. With the Sally Hansen, that pretty much makes that just like almost like our rods, a wrap, with epoxy, and it's pretty indestructible. This fly is pretty indestructible. You could fish all day as long as, if you're going to fish for it for a while, it's going to last a long time. Just double check your line, your tip it to the fly because the teeth might be chewing it up. And I've had that happen where they've broken it off because I've caught a dozen fish on it and the line probably just broke. So that's that one. I will do one more with the different eggs to see, and then I'll go to the easy pom-pom. And the pom-poms are cool, so anytime Margie wants to go to Michael's and all that, I actually go there because they got good foam for foam flies. And
Yeah, but on the business of seeing what the fly looks like in the water, and Mick, I don't know if you ever remember seeing it, but Lester Mead showed once he had a hole set up like an acrylic trough and a pump that actually pumped the water flowing through it because he made a lot of articulated flies and stuff, and he wanted to see how it worked in the water to where he could put the fly in and really see how it's going to act in flowing water. And so I don't know if anybody else has seen them. I don't know if they're commercially made or if he constructed it himself, but such things are out there.
yep. And it's kind of neat because it actually has like a little aquarium pump. So the water's actually flowing past it. And I've seen those, but I've never bought one because they're kind of on the expensive side. I think they're almost $100. So
Yeah, they're a little more. Al Beatty's got one that he throws on his Zoom call every now and again. I've never found a real, I can never justify spending it. If I want to see what a fly looks like, I put it in the sink.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more important if you're, like I say, tying those big articulated flies and stuff where getting the movement right to see if every single one you tied that you don't have something hanging it up or whatever else. People doing that probably have a much better use for it than the midges and other things we're throwing in there.
Yep, we'll see what happens, because I just texted Margie, hopefully she's looking at her phone. I'm actually tying some line to this and hoping that she's gonna bring down a glass of water real quick. And then we could kind of do a quick check. I hear water running, so I think we're gonna be in luck. Let's see, I'm waiting to hear the door open. I'm actually struggling trying to just tie a simple knot.
But when I switch and tie some top flies or whatever, or, something different, like when I first tied that bee thing that I do, threw it in glass water or in the sink or whatever to see just how it actually will sit on the water. Whether it rolls over or stays upright, to know that you got the hackles and whatever else adequate to do the job.
Yeah,
Hey, on that note, Jim Saraceno asked me a few weeks ago when I tied those Griffith gnats with those with the parahackle, if they would float, and if they did, floated right side up. And so the answer to your question is, Jim, yes, they do flow right side up.
Cool, thanks for checking that out for me.
Because I was out there fishing and there was I was down at Current and I said, oh, there was some dry flies and some midges. And so I thought, hey, it's a perfect opportunity to try this. And so I threw it on there and yeah, it sat right up just perfect. Had a couple kind of go look. I got some refusals on it, but it sat up just fine. So, but I got a few looks at it, which I'm going to take that as a win for me. So,
sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Just keep them interested. They'll come.
Yep. All right, I will try the other eggs to see. I pinged Margie a second time. Let's see if I get my glass of water.
just tell her you're thirsty.
Yeah, it's like, if we want to, the glass here is, oh, there it is. It's got my Arnold Palmer, thanks to Lee. I'm addicted to that now, but that I don't think we'll be able to see flies in that. Okay, so
Hey, Mick, what thread are you using?
I am using, let's see if I could get that. Let me see where you could see it. The UTC 140, the fluorescent pink. I like this. I have it fluorescent pink. I have another roll of the fluorescent chartreuse, and I have just like a, was it shrimp color there. I love the different colors. I use this a lot with foam flies as well. So if I'm doing any beetle patterns or anything like that.
Do you have a tendency to that it doesn't tie it secure or not initially?
I've
Really?
never had an issue. This is actually really thick, so I could kind of like, I mean, you could see I'm cranking on that. I've never had an issue. So even when I try to do a whip finish, I could crank on it and I've never had an issue. Again, this is a different material, but I'm trying, just like if you were tying a mop fly, trying to get to where I could see the thread. Hopefully you can kind of see it a little bit there. You had the two strands. I keep this one a lot smaller. So you see, I only did just almost a 1/4 inch tops. Lock that in. Now this is this different ecstasy material, but same thing. But I kind of like this because it's got the color, but it's got a little bit of flash. There's 1 turn, 2 turn, 3 turn. So that's all you have to do on these. So this material goes a long way. It's gonna seat that in a couple times behind. Couple up front. Wrapped up. I'll do the Sally Hansen's again. I just put a little bit, you can barely see it on the thread there. Just enough, you can kind of see it glimmering. You don't have to put a whole lot, it's just to kind of soak the thread and it locks in. Whip finish. Done. So this is quite a bit smaller than the other ecstasy pattern, but works all the same. And this I like because it actually has some, you can kind of see it a little bit. There is some flashaboo in there. So it's going to be a little flash. The red makes a nice little hot spot. So there's another version of that. I'll do one more. And then if this is kind of the cheat sheet method, and then this is if you want to use the pom-pom. Oops. Uh-oh. I think I hear a water glass coming. Lee, I think you're.
My phone was on.
Ooh, hey, how you doing, Margie?
Hello, hello.
Yeah, we'll
Hey,
wait for our
Margaret.
next food
Hey.
trip.
How you doing?
Doing well, doing well.
All right. You see if somehow I could move this to the side. Oop, no, I want that there. Here's some water. Unfortunately,
There you go.
it's saying on the rocks as well. So where is the one that I had? There it is. So here we go. It's kind of floating a little bit, but trying to see where you guys could see it. But as you see, it's doesn't mat down or anything, but that's the water.
Okay, that's good.
So as I'm tying, I'll try to do the others as well, but it has a little bit of an air bubble. But as you see, it's not clumped together. It looks exactly what you want. I want to try the clown material in there, but it looks like I'm leaving prints on the glass now. There, does that look better? Yeah. So as you see, that looks pretty good. It's not clumping or anything. But with it out, there it is. So it'll look like that went out.
All right.
You gonna keep that?
Yep, I'm gonna
Okay.
keep it. I'll come up with a
Okay.
better one. So back to the pom-pom. So this is where it's kind of where I would call it the cheat mode, because I took it off the vise. I do have a thread base there and kind of feed it through a little bit. And I will start thread again. Keep it from rolling a lot. I will do, if anyone's wondering, super glue Loctite. I'll just put a little dab on that, but then I will make sure I lock it with thread.
And you mean super glue, right?
What's that?
Loctite, you mean super glue?
Yeah, Loctite super glue, because that's what they call it. Loctite super glue. It's a gel. And I like this with, it's got these little wings where you press and it locks it in. And so it has that I just try to keep this from spinning, but I do wrap in some of that material up front. Make sure I still lock the thread up. Just a little bit on the whip finish. And so there's a quick pom-pom. Got a little bit of the glue up too high, but so if you want, that's an easier way of doing it too. So I would say out of all of them, the ecstasy is still my favorite one. That one's pretty easy. And since I got this thread, let's see what this one looks like underwater.
I like the flash on the ecstasy, right?
Yeah, there's two different ecstasies, and that's here's, see if I can kind of turn this, keep my green background. Here's the two different ecstasies. So you can see this one is a little bit thicker on this side, and it's thinner. Both of them are marketed and say ecstasy, but they are completely different. So I want to see if they have different types. They're both salmon pink, but this one actually has a flash on it. And so when you're doing it, the two flies come out at different sizes. So I wish I, let's see if I could, don't have.
Do they make it in white? Because I was thinking of, carp fishing, right? You want them like a mott fly or something to land on top or something.
Yeah. They have them in white, orange. They have several colors. See, does this help? Yeah, check that out. Another use for a whip finish tool. So you kind of see that the one makes it a little bit bigger, and I think the smaller size is probably better. But the one, if you watch my video of the nice fish I caught, it was off the bigger one. But there are so many different, and again, like I said, there's so many different ways, different materials, that you could do flies. That's the fun part of this, is just experimenting. So I'm going to cut this off and see what the pom-pom looks like. And that's trying to done. Because I'm guessing that's going to float at first.
What knot do you like to use on those?
Depends on the thickness of the monofilament I'm using. If it's 7 or 5X, I use a double Davy. And if it's anything higher than that, a single Davy will work. But let me see. So there it is. Pom-pom is floating as I thought. I'll make this better. But I'm hoping maybe if I squeeze some of that air out, there it goes. So that looks pretty good under the water too. Let me get rid of that writing. So there you go. I'll come up with a better glass, but I like that idea.
Yeah, it works out pretty good.
Yep. So that's what they're saying. The cool thing with this is if it's bouncing off the bottom, if I could get there.
You even got your super glue fingerprints on the glass.
Yeah, I know. I gotta. Yeah. All of a sudden, we've got the fingerprints now.
We'll send it to CSI.
Yeah, but the cool thing is you kind of see that even when it's bouncing up, that hook is up. So even if it's, you start dragging bottom, it's just going to skip along the bottom, which is going to actually be a kind of good thing. So All right, that's a good idea, Lee. I'm gonna do that from now on, but I'm gonna come up with something better that we could do it. Hopefully maybe on the same height as my so I don't have to touch it and put fingerprints all over it.
I get you another USB camera and hook it up.
And the funny thing is, you know what? That's even a better, because while you said that, I do have this one.
The old camera, right?
Yeah, my old camera, so I could probably just do it right there.
Yeah, Mick, you might want to think about looking into something called Video Ninja.
Video Ninja. All right.
VO.NINJA. It's a web-based system. You can connect your telephone, your iPhone or your tablet, the Video Ninja, and then you have to use OBS. And you bring it into OBS and you can use as many of them as you want.
Okay.
If you
So-
want, give me a call and I'll walk you through some stuff on that sort of thing.
Yep, I could probably give you a call tomorrow. I know we're busy tonight a little bit, so
Yeah, I've got a class to teach in the morning, and then I got another class I'm teaching in Lincoln in the afternoon. So tomorrow's a bad day for me.
yep. All right, then I'm maybe, well, who knows? Maybe after your call, I'm actually free this Thursday, so I get to make your call.
Okay.
So,
I'm free all day on Thursday too during the daytime. So
okay. So that's kind of all I got. Let me get rid of the spotlight so we could do the Brady Bunch again. So any questions on that? It's a good fly. They're easy to tie. Again, for those that tie a JB, that might be something you might want to do. And if you don't want to spend a whole lot of money, what I can try to do is see if I could find a knockoff at Michael's that's, you know, just big long chenille yarn. And that way we're not using the very expensive, because once you put fly fishing on it and call it ecstasy, it price quadruples. So
Well, Mick, I don't have a question, but I thought I would add that there is a fly that is a marriage of two very productive patterns. It's called the egg sucking leech.
okay.
And basically it marries a woolly booger with a egg pattern. If you can see that, it's
Let me
just,
bring you up.
you know, this one is well worn and stuff like that, but you know, basically got a woolly booger, you save a little extra room at the head, and then you tie an egg on there, and that's another very simple and very effective pattern. So
New England salmon fly
yeah, could be.
in the Salmon River in upstate New York for years.
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of glad you brought that up, because once you said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot a good fly, where you kind of said that too. Again, that's a fun thing with this, is you could change everything up and try different stuff. What I'm going to show you right now.
See, with the egg sucking leech, I was doing reading because I may go after speckled trout. They really aren't a trout, but and stuff. And I did a bunch of reading, and one of them said, you know, egg sucking leech is an effective pattern for them, including woolly buggers and a few others.
Yeah, and that's a fun thing. So you got the egg sucking leech. You can see mop material with the
Egg sucking mott fly. Cool.
they call it a mop and glow. So,
I like that.
yeah, so it's a mop and glow. So you got a glow bug, you know, glow material with a mop fly. These work pretty good too. I mean, if I use these a lot when I'm helping out with a mayfly project, because we could go out there and have a good time and say, oh, well, we didn't catch any fish. But man, it's a whole lot tougher with those kids. They really want to get stuff. So that's there. And I think, Jim, didn't you tie a fly one time that was a mix of a San Juan and
Oh yeah. What was that? The Obi-Wan Kenobi. It was
yeah,
a egg pattern with a San Juan worm on it.
yeah, and that was pretty cool too, because they had, you know, the San Juan material had a little hump to it. So that's
I'm sorry, eggy worm.
Eggy one. That's it. Eggy one. So eggy, and then J-U-A-N for the San Juan worm. That was a pretty cool fly too. So that's a fun thing with fly tying is there's so many different things, and if you see two patterns, you can put them together. You know, it's neat. So, all right, we're getting close on 7. Trying to think of anything. Do I owe anyone anything? We're getting close to February. Jim, thank you for all the work setting up for our fly tying or our rod building event. So we're good to go there. I think we have everything.
One thing I was going to mention on rod building,
Yeah,
I just bumped into it by accident, but my lead stripping guide is actually twisted. You can actually look down because I cut a slot so it rests on top of your rod.
yeah.
And in fact, it's twisted at a 30-degree angle from one foot to the next.
Oh my
And the groove isn't even, the groove isn't even cut down through the center. It's kind of cut completely off angle. So you might just, as you look at your guides, I polished mine up for tomorrow's activities. Hopefully I'm far enough, but I just got to get a replacement main stripping guide for the first one.
Yeah, and that's another, double check your materials and all that. It's, I still feel badly, put a lot of effort into his rod, and we had all the wraps done, and then all of a sudden bad resin, threw off all his hard work. So do check into that. That's another good thing. Check your rod guides, check your reel seats and your grips and everything. Do a good look, because I will remember that for sure, because it's a shame when you have participants go through all that effort and then something like
Yes.
that happens at the end.
Test. Always check your stuff. Give it a test one.
Yep,
It takes about 15 or 20 minutes, and it'll save you tons of time in the long run.
for sure.
And
It's
you
all
can
right.
get
We're at,
barrel shafts are the great way to go. If you know somebody that's an archer, see if he's got any broken shafts.
yeah. I had a different broken shaft today. We were working on our Iron Bird today, and the hydraulic pump sheared a shaft. So that was my day at work. So
No fun.
other than that, I think we're done. I'll put in.
Hey, Mick,
Yes, sir.
did we come up with dates for the trips?
Yes, I will send those out to you. I could see
Okay.
real quick if I could find them, but Amy did put out. Let me see. Is this it? That's not it. But the trips are coming out now for Freedom Ranch, and then they have the new Oak Heart Lodge, which is new, and I've been submitted for it, so I will see if I might get one of those slots, which is gonna be kind of nice if that happens. We'll see. Trying to see. Oop. Let me see. I might have it here. That's the guide. Let me open. And so if any one of our participants are looking forward to it or want me to put you in, let me know. If you're a volunteer, and if you were a veteran, I could actually get you on one of the ambassador trips if you want. So let me see. Which one is this? Freedom Ranch. Let me just look. I'm looking for Heartland. So Heartland's trip dates are going to be August 6th through the 10th. So if you're interested in trying to get to Freedom Ranch August 6th through the 10th, and you could get those days off, let me know. We do have a little bit of time, but basically we will have to come up with a little 2-paragraph, basically what you did in the service, so we get to know your background, and then how Project Healing Waters helped you. That is for participants. I'm looking for the National Ambassador part one. So I know Lee, you ask once in a while. The first one is ambassador trip. That's May 14th through the 18th. So if you're interested in trying to submit your name for that, let me know. And this goes for the same of those who are veterans and volunteers. They don't have another ambassador one until October 1 through 5. So you either could go for the first one, May 14th through the 18th, or October 1 through 5. And the Heartland only has one slot, and we get 8 slots. So there's less than 8 of us programs in Heartland, so at least we're guaranteed one slot, depending on how long you've been with the program and everything. We might be able to get a couple slots. So that's for Freedom Ranch. And now they've got the new one, Oakhart Lodge.
Where's that?
That is in Michigan, and that's the one they put out to a couple program leads who have never been on a trip. They asked us to put in if we want it. The first one for ambassador is 5 through 9 March, and that's in Michigan. And they go for steelhead there. So I've got my fingers crossed on that. Heartland, again, this will be for the participants. If you want to put your name in there, again, we have 8 slots. And that's April 30th through May 4th. And again, check that out. We get another 8 slots, September 3 through 7. And I'll get these out on our email list, so you guys could look at that as well. There's going to be another national ambassador the October 15th through the 19th, and then again November 12th through the 16th. So this new one called Oakhart Lodge is going to actually be bigger than Freedom Ranch. It's kind of closer. I think it's a 7-hour drive. So if you wanted to drive, you could even drive there. But it's the Muskegon River in New Wago, Michigan. It's got 11-acre property with 400 feet of river frontage. So I'm looking at this. So Heartland has, for Freedom Ranch, they got 8 slots, and for Oakhart, they have 16. So Oakhart is going to be bigger than Freedom Ranch this year. So that's pretty cool.
We can only put in for one of them.
I would put your name in for every one you can. Just let me know the dates you're interested, and I'll put you in for every single one, just in case maybe you don't hit one, we'll get the other, because again, looking at this, Heartland has a total of 24 spots for participants.
Okay.
Man, that's almost guaranteed I could get 3, maybe 4. So,
Where are you accessing that info? Is that on a Facebook page or?
this is an email that went out to program
Oh.
leads and above.
Okay.
So I'm looking at all the slots I get, and we've got a good chunk of this, we've got a lot. So we've got a lot of slots, ambassadors. So if any of you want to do ambassador, like Roger, you absolutely qualify for that. And you've been such a big part of this. And we've got Amy at our side. I'm sure if this is interested you, let me know for sure. But for ambassador, we have 48 slots, but that's for all. But it's, we kind of know someone. So if you're interested, let me know. I'll put these dates out, because I just read these off. It's better to look at them and then look into it. But the Oak Lodge looks pretty good. I think that's gonna be a nice destination. We'll see if, with the numbers, if you guys are interested, I should be able to get several of the participants going. And then if any of you that qualify for ambassador, which is veteran and a volunteer, we could put your name in as well. All right,
Hey,
hopefully-
Nick, I got a question. For
sure.
like place up Michigan, could we get like 2 or 3 or 4 participants and 1 or 2 volunteers to escort them up there?
No, basically, when they say slots for participants, there's participants, and then the lodge, the Oak Lodge has its own personnel there. So it's not that they have, we would have our volunteers running with them. We get them out there and they already have people there to help those participants out. So it's, but the cool thing is we'll look into it. It's, again, for us to try to do program overnighters, that funding, it's something that we would have to come up with. We could do that, but stuff like that, that's kind of hard to get a bunch of people out there. So, but it's always something that we could try to shoot for. So that's all I have on that. Next week, does anyone want to volunteer to tie flies or have any ideas on something they'd like to see, and then I could research it and tie it next week?
I'll be happy to tie a fly.
Cool, Jim. I appreciate that. That's probably like the biggest help that I get is when I get someone else tying with me. So,
So let me ask you guys this. I know I've tied this before, the cicada, the foam cicada. But this year there's supposed to be a huge cicada hatch.
yes,
As a matter of fact, 2 of them. I think only one's going to happen in Missouri, but they are going to be abundant. And when the cicada's out, the bass are biting.
Yeah.
So if you guys want, I will go ahead and demo that again.
yeah, please do that, because I just saw that in the news as well, that, they're based on years and 2 of them overlap now. So there's going to be, like you said, we're only going to get 1, but there's going to be definitely in the news. You're going to hear some people complaining that they got 2 hatches going on. And the crazy thing, they're big and scary, but they're harmless. They can't bite you. They're full of protein. So everything eats these. You see the birds chasing them, the turtles will eat them, the frogs will eat them, the fish will eat them. So this is like nature's candy. So it's a good fly pattern to know, and they're fun to tie. It's big foam. They float well, and they have a topwater bass in it. Would be just so much fun. So we will do that for sure. Thank you, Jim. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Not a problem.
All right. So I will call it an end to that. Sorry, we went 10 minutes over, but we were having fun. If you have any questions, email me, call me, text me. I'll get to you. Text is probably the easier because in between meetings and all that, I could type something real quick. But if you need a email or phone call, that takes a little bit of time and just have to wait to the evening. So that's all I got. I will see some of you, or hopefully most of you Monday. So we're back at JB. We'll be back here on Tuesday, but don't forget Omaha has their tying this Thursday. So that's all I got. And so you gentlemen have a good evening.
Have a good
Thanks
night.
a lot, Mick.
All
Take
right.
care.
Right.
Good seeing
See
you guys.
everybody. Everybody be well.
Okay, bye now.